Rupert Lowe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Prime Minister agree that imprisoning Lucy Connolly, a young mother with a 12-year-old daughter, for one foolish social media post, soon deleted, is clearly not an efficient or fair use of prison?
Mr. Speaker, sentencing is a matter for our courts, and I celebrate the fact that we have independent courts in this country. I am strongly in favour of free speech. We've had free speech in this country for a very long time, and we protect it fiercely. But I'm equally against incitement to violence against other people. And I will always support the action taken by our police and courts to keep our streets and people safe.
Paul Foster.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I recently visited St Catherine's Hospice in Lostock Hall, which serves wonderfully my constituents of South Ribble, those of Ribble Valley and some of your constituents of Chorley, Mr. Speaker. I discovered, speaking to them, that they have to pay in excess of £350,000 a year for medication, and it can only be sourced from the private sector, not the NHS. Doing some investigating, I found there's an ICB postcode lottery out there. Some ICBs fully fund and supply our medication, some subsidise, some don't supply it at all. There's also a disparity where evidence supports that hospices in the more deprived areas aren't funded, those in the more affluent areas are funded. Would the Prime Minister please speak with the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care as a matter of urgency and get free medication supplied by all ICBs to all hospices across the country?
Well, Mr. Speaker, we have put record amounts into the NHS in the budget, and we're beginning to see the results of that. I accept the point he makes, and we will look again to make sure the money is properly used in the most efficient way.
We're a Hobhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A month ago, I was denied entry into Hong Kong on a private visit. At the absence of any explanation, this seems to hint at a hidden blacklist aimed to silence any MP who speaks up against human rights abuses from the Chinese government. Many of us from any political party. Does he agree with me that this is an attack on all of us? And will he personally seek reassurances from the Hong Kong authorities that no British parliamentarian will be denied entry in this way again?
Well, can I thank her? Her experience is deeply concerning, and I know it must have affected her. I think she was hoping to see and later saw her grandchild, but it must have impacted on her, and it is deeply concerning. We need to recognise that. Ministers have raised it, including the Foreign Secretary, on numerous occasions with their counterparts both in China and Hong Kong, preventing UK citizens, including members of Parliament, from entering Hong Kong without justification, or for simply expressing their views, is completely unacceptable, and it will only undermine Hong Kong's international reputation and the relationship that we have with them. And so we will continue to raise it.
John MacDonald.
Mr. Speaker, you will know that I've raised on several occasions in the House the case of Alaa Abdel Fattah, the British-Egyptian human rights campaigner, who for several years now, many years now, has been imprisoned in Egypt, and whose mother, Layla, went on a 100-day hunger strike. I want to thank the Prime Minister for fulfilling his promise to contact the President Sisi of Egypt to secure Alaa's release, but unfortunately months on now, and Alaa remains in prison, and Layla this week has started her hunger strike again. Could I appeal to him to speak directly again to President Sisi to secure Alaa's release?
Well, can I thank him for raising this, not just today, but on the many occasions that he has. It is incredibly important that we do everything we can in this case. I have met Layla and given her my commitment to do everything I possibly can. I have had a number of contacts myself, but I'm not going to stop doing everything within my power to secure release.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Would the Prime Minister join me in welcoming my constituent Teddy, who is 6 years old, and with his mum Laura, who've come to see us today at Prime Minister's Questions. Teddy is a self-professed eco-warrior on a mission to change the world. He started out by saving thousands of plastic chocolate and sweet tubs from landfill because they're not currently recyclable. Will the Prime Minister commit to ask his Minister for Local Government to meet with Teddy and myself to discuss how we make these tubs recyclable? irreparable? And does he agree with me that no matter how small you are never too little to make a big difference?
Well, can I welcome Teddy on my behalf and on behalf, I think, of the whole House. It is really incredible that Teddy has done so much already and is in the gallery somewhere. Many of us struggle for a whole lifetime to make an impact on government policy. Teddy is already age 6 having an impact, and I'll make sure that he gets to speak to the relevant minister.
Final question, Rosie Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Following on from my honourable friend, I also want to mark that this week is National Epilepsy Week, an important opportunity to raise awareness of a condition that affects so many but often remains invisible. Epilepsy comes with fear and uncertainty, the anxiety of having a seizure, the impact of losing a driving licence, and the worry about medication shortages. In the UK, 1 in 100 people live with epilepsy. That's up to 6 of us in this chamber, including myself. So today I ask the Prime Minister, will he join me and the inspiring campaigners watching from the gallery in marking National Epilepsy Week as we continue to raise awareness of seizures?
Well, can I congratulate my honourable friend for her tireless campaigning on this issue and those campaigners who are with us today. I know the impact epilepsy has on people across the country, including on over 100,000 children and young people. We are committed to improving care for people with neurological conditions and setting up UK-wide Neuroforum to improve treatment and care for those with such conditions.
That completes Prime Minister's question. Point of order. Point of order, Richard Tice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I put on record of the House, with your permission, the sad passing yesterday of Patrick O'Flynn, a journalist, a political journalist, well known to many honourable members of this House. He died after a short battle with cancer. He was a lobby journalist for some 20 years, spending many, many days, weeks and months in the press gallery above. He will be much missed, and can I pass on the condolences of all honourable members to his wife, Carol Ann, and his 2 children.
Can I say I'm grateful to the honourable member for his point of order. Patrick was a long-serving and well-respected member of the lobby. I'm sure the whole House will wish to join me in sending our condolences to his family for somebody who was taken so young. Point of order, Kirsty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm seeking your guidance on how I get a response from the Department for Work and Pensions. I've written to the Secretary of State in relation to one of my constituents who was told by a first-tier tribunal that DWP must pay him, backdated to January 2020. We've been chasing the department for over a month for a response. This tribunal decision was in February. Can he advise how I can get a response?
I think the Honourable Lady knows exactly what she's going to do next. But I would say she's certainly put on the record. I hope the bench has heard. I do find it pretty appalling that government departments aren't answering all members of all political parties on time to their correspondence. Because in the end, the backbenchers are answerable to their constituents. And if they can't get the reply from departments, they're letting down the members. So I hope they are listening and answering as we speak. Right. Let us move on to 10-minute rule motion. Just let it clear a little. We come to 10-minute rule motion. Luke Charters.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move that leave be given to bring in a bill to require the Secretary of State to publish an assessment of the effectiveness of current regulation of the debt collection and civil enforcement sectors, and to report to Parliament on the potential merits of statutory regulation of those sectors and for connected purposes. Today, I introduce the Regulation of Bailiffs Assessment and Report Bill. We are in this place to speak up when others can't, to put right what's clearly wrong. This bill, to get a grip on rogue bailiffs, does exactly that. Today, I want to share some truly heartbreaking stories of vulnerable people left absolutely petrified in their own homes, disabled people terrified that vital equipment could be wrongfully taken from them. It's time that despicable practices in the enforcement sector come to an end. For the thousands across the country who've suffered serious injustices at the hands of cold-hearted rogue bailiffs, those who've brought shame to their own industry. I came into politics to fight for